Welcome into Carolina Tailgate. We're back to pick up where we left off. I want to get into South Carolina, Georgia, and what this matchup looks like, because as I was trying to tell you, these sort of games are what college football is all about. These opportunities to go in and wreak havoc on everything. And that's what makes it fun. That's why you play the game, right? How often do we hear that? And being somebody who covered the FCS for a long time, I have seen teams overlook people who have the talent or the will on the right day. And I think...
Are you really coming in here with that one? Oh, I covered FCS. I can't help you start off in the high school league, but now you in grown man football country, okay?
And I couldn't be more pumped. I'm going to be in Athens for the first
Southern
time
football.
ever.
You better get ready, and
wait.
you might want to wear a helmet, because those Bulldog fans are nothing nice. Let me just tell you.
Make sure you wear neutral colors.
I'll just be in all black.
Let me just say this.
Can South Carolina beat them?
Absolutely. We've done it. We've done it in 2019. I was traveling around with Hootie and the Blowfish singing, let her cry, let those tears fall down like rain. We were doing our thing, but before we took the stage, or they took the stage, we were watching South Carolina and Georgia. Starting quarterbacks, first string, second string down. DeCarrion Joyner had to come in, Wildcat. They won the game down in Athens. Matter of fact, go back into the late 80s when I played. Twice I went down there and handled business against this. So you can go win this ball game. Is it going to be hard? Yes. Do they need some things to fall their way? Yes. They need to play flawless football. Absolutely. It's a winnable game. And Georgia hasn't played anybody. We don't know who they are. We're giving them the #1 ranking in the country, but do we really know who the Georgia Bulldogs are? We don't. And South Carolina is going to be their first test. South Carolina got better last week.
Is South Carolina a test for Georgia?
Come on.
I think so. I mean, because I think those schools are...
I was just trying to stoke a fire.
Yeah, I know. I think those schools are close enough. I think they recruit a lot of the same kids. You have an up-and-coming coach in Beamer up there at South Carolina, and he's trying to make his mark in the SEC. And you got some kids that's going to take this game very personal. And I think they look at it as an opportunity. I think you make a great point in the beginning of this about the opportunities in college football, because that's what it's about. You go down there upset #1. I mean, that's a huge opportunity for South Carolina and the program.
But that's what it is.
But I was, that was my caveat.
We will say it's #1 if we win the game, and I'll be doing this. I promise you. If we listen, Spencer Rattler though, I'm gonna hold that receipt.
Oh yeah, keep that receipt.
You're
because
getting
the brother
on board
is
with
balling
the receipt.
out, and when you look at his record, Patrick Sapp against top 25, top 15 teams, it's very impressive.
He does show up.
I would say this
when the lights are brightest.
The one thing about that statement is I'm not sold on Spencer Rattler. I'm not. I'm just not. Because I think here's what I think. I think it's, for me, it's more of the character and the discipline as a player than it is the skill on the field. Also, you going against Georgia. Now you talk about your offensive line. And can they hold up against a true SEC
It's going to be a test. We know that.
His IQ, understanding the defense, understanding the coverage is where this game is going to be won. Can he make the quick decisions and the right decisions in the passing game?
In my opinion, it's not as much on Spencer Rattler being able to make the quick decisions and make the throws and that sort of thing. It's about the run game at South Carolina, which is
right. And that's the problem, because if you're sitting back,
you can't just put it all on him
all day long and making yourself become one-dimensional, guys. They're going to tee off on South Carolina. So I'm hoping the offensive line hold up. They're able to run the football. I told the kid from a little small school that transferred from Newberry, he's doing pretty good. I think he might be getting some extra carries because he's a big physical guy. Listen, we're not afraid. Listen, Goliath is shouting. He said, hey, Kirby Smart's mad based on what Tucker Hemingway said at the SEC meeting about the crowd, and they're not that loud. Oh, he's in a little wide there, right? Who cares, Kirby? We coming. Deion said, they coming, they ain't scared.
And I think we
take the bus ride down the road.
What South Carolina do have in their pocket is, I agree with Corey. I'm sorry.
You call me Curry too. Corey, don't matter.
Curry, you can shoot like Steph Curry, right? But what I agree with you about is, we don't know if Georgia's #1. And so it's so early in the season. Everybody's panicking about, Clemson didn't pass our test. South Carolina don't look good. Alabama, lost to Texas. Oh, Alabama's on a decline. It is too early in the season. It's too many transfers. All that stuff is going on. the dust hadn't settled to say who's number one, who's the top 4 teams, who's the top 10 teams,
You just use
who's
that
going to
'cause
be
you're
there at the
trying
end
to
of the
protect
season.
your team.
No, I think that's
do you
just absolute
disagree
truth.
that college football is in a panic right now? Because I mean, right, this is the national conversation is Alabama's done. The dynasty is over. And we've seen this happen throughout. It's almost like I could have guessed what you would have said to that. But you're the first one to
You
say
don't do that.
Clemson's done.
But this has been a 2-year sample size. This is not just this
Alabama's
year.
not a 2-year sample size?
Because
My big question is, how does a college football program
First of
fight the slide?
First of all, there's no dynasty in Clemson. Let's just get this right. You want to now?
How
That's
is
not
that
a
not
dynasty.
a dynasty?
Nick Saban been doing this 15 years, bro. You're not in there even.
So is
don't
Georgia
even
dynasty?
put No, they're not there yet.
So who's the
Nick
last
Saban-
dynasty
what's the
before
year?
Alabama?
Alabama's been
Who's the
controlling
last-
college football for the last 14 years.
Who's the last dynasty before
How many
Alabama?
years have Clemson been controlling the football landscape?
Maybe Florida was Spurrier was there. He was rolling pretty good. Listen, Alabama is
Florida won how many on the Spur? You won?
How do you?
One national
How
championship?
does a college football program fight the slide? How,
Not going
how
to be able
does
to fight
this
slide
happen?
because of the transfer portal, which their coach don't have anything to do with. That's why they're sliding, right? Because they don't go get better football players. They can sit here and tell you about Kumbaya, God is great. I'm all about that. God is a good God. But God could care less about football. Listen, here's what I thought about with your quarterback. You know, I saw Sports Spectrum as a Christian podcast. I love it. Jason is a great dude, and, you know, I love what he had to say, man. He's not worried about nobody but what God thinks of him. But the reality is, faith without works is dead. You got to go play. And right now, you better step up. If they had anybody else to play quarterback, Cade Klubnik would have been on the bench.
I don't think so. Here's
you,
what I would say.
You have 20 seconds. Go.
Okay, so to talk about the slide, this is how you prevent the slide. So we're talking about the transfer portal. You build a team with 40 transfers, right? You have to maintain that because you're going to have those players 1 or 2 years. And recruits going to stop coming to you because guess what? You go hit the transfer portal to replace me. So what
Ball State
sustains
does a
a
pretty good
program right now is the culture. Continue the culture, continue to work. Your coaches work, stay hungry. That's how you sustain it. But every team's going to dip. Every team's not going to be in a national title every year. So fans, people in the sports world got to be okay
Y'all
with
ain't
that.
been in a minute,
All right, when we come back, we'll get a final thought on this week and catch up with our pickup.
You ain't been in a minute.